think he first came to the island. I was living in Hanavana, and he was living right next door to me in this little tree house, about 5 by 5 or 6 by 6. He was just up in the tree all the time. I didn't really know him that well, even though he was living next door to me. And I never really knew him well throughout our relationship. I just would see him here and there, and we'd have these little connections. But getting back to the treehouse, my mother would visit the property. The first time she came to visit, she was from New York and new to Maui, and he would be always running around naked, and she was like, he's naked. And I said, yeah, we go naked here, Mom, you know. And so, you know, it was like, every time she would call me from New York, and she was, how's Robert doing? You know, and this was through the years, so it was always, well, I don't know how Robert's doing, I guess he's okay. But every so often I'd see Robert, and he was just so sincere. You know, that was what always struck me about Robert, was his sincerity. Whenever I was with him, he was like right there with me, and whatever it was, he was very sincere about it. And that really resonated with me. I just, you know, just really respected him for that, his sincerity. And with his book, The Gardening, the Organic Gardening, you know, it was like he showed me this book that he had written, and I was like, wow, you wrote that? Okay, you know, and I bought the book from him, and I would use it. And then it was the switch words, and he was showing me the switch words some other time we met, and he said, yeah, use this word. He says, if you lose something, reach. You know? I said, okay. And to this day, whenever I lose something, all I have to do is use that word and the thing appears. You know, and it happens more and more for me, so I use that word more and more. And then, you know, I'd run into him at McKenna Beach, you know, on Sunday, and we'd see him once in a while. He said, oh, I'm living in Thailand. And so when I went to Thailand a few years ago, I looked him up. I went to Koh Phangan, this little island, and saw him living there in a probably 10 by 10 little shack on the beach with Shanti, and I stayed next door in another little shack and got to visit for a few days, and it was just wonderful. It's like, God, this guy's doing it. He's living his life, making his book on the internet and selling it all over the world, and you know, it was wonderful. And then I guess it was just a year or so later I ran into him and found out, you know, that he was, you know, sick, and you know, it was like, I said, okay, well, and I knew Robert. I knew what he was about. I knew his positive thinking, his conviction, his sincerity to life, and who he was. And I said, okay, well, you know, he's going to either cure himself or have the most incredible passing, you know, I could imagine. And that's what it was, you know. He did it all, you know. He did his healing. He did it how he knew he could do it. And then he did his beautiful passing, you know, in total light. And I was really glad to be a part of that, you know, and tune in with him whenever I could, you know, when I would see him. And he you know, he gave me his strength. I felt his strength. I felt, you know, whenever I was with him. And so, yeah, I really appreciate him. Thank you.
Thank you.